You're all set.
To call the June 21st, 2022 Public Safety Committee to order at 5 p.m. Roll call. Councilor Kelly is excused. Okay. Councilor Bob
Present.
and Mayor Rosenquist. And Chair Canales is here. All committee members have received a copy of the minutes of the May 16, 2022 Public Safety Committee. I'll now entertain a motion to accept it as is. Motion by Councilor Bob, second by Mayor Rosenquist. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all opposed? Carried. All right. Item number 2, building inspector, Director McMahon, go ahead and just shoot it from the hip all the way through.
Yeah. Hi there. Okay, so to start with our complaint reports. Citizen complaint reports, we've got 16 for the month of May, 14 have been resolved, 2 are still in progress. For our proactive patrol reports, we've identified 72 violations in the month of May. 71 have been resolved, 1 is still in progress. Our permits year to date, from January 1 to June 17th this year, we've issued 139 building permits and taken in 25,618 in fees, whereas this same time last year we issued 140 permits, so it's very similar in number of permits and fees up to this point last year. The same with our total. So in addition to the building permits, the money we take in for, sign permits, contractor registrations, compliance letters, that those total activities for up until the end of May of this year are 351 total activities of that nature, for a total of $78,468 collected. Whereas this time last year is 333 of those activities for $83,934 money collected. Now, last year was the first year of the rental registration, and those monies were due right about it. So we got a big chunk of the money last year for those 3-year permits. So some of those numbers are up in that way. Specific to
That was my question, so you hit it right
Okay.
on the head.
So taking those out.
Was just the difference there, like seeing that was the highest, because it looked like everything else was up.
Yeah.
And then I just
Yeah,
noticed.
so we had a big chunk that came in. It was required by that, so we'll probably see a trickle in of those same numbers as they were last year.
Okay.
Because most people, you could get a 1-year permit on those, which some people did, but it was a very small percentage. I think it's less than 10%. So the bulk got the 3-year permit, which those monies were really coming in May, June, and July of last year.
But taking the rental registry out altogether, we're seeing an increase in fees.
Yep, fees and number of permits.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did talk to the gentleman from Wildwood about the project out on Margaret Street. He was appreciative of your conversation as well. We had a nice chat, so.
Well, good. Thank you so much for following up with that. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
I think he just appreciated being heard.
Yeah.
Thank you. Item number 2, Police Department Chief. Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, all. I think you have copies. Our monthly report, arrests for this month, misdemeanors were 33, felonies were 13 for a total of 46. That's not 56, it's 46. I think it's 213 years, 213 year to date. Animal control complaints, dogs were 20, cats were 3, wild complaints were 10. Parking violations in May, 86 issued, revenue of $1,947. And if you see from last May, there's been 191 with $4,068. Payroll, and let's see. PD, shift totals. Jared, do we have the overtime stuff or no? I don't see it on here. Where we're at with monthly overtime, you didn't put that in here.
The 298.
You do have. Okay. Okay, does everyone have that? I do have it. Any questions on any of that? Mayor?
I have none at this point.
Okay, I think we covered the agenda. I think, Mr. Chairman, you had some questions about EO 203,
I did.
and that's why I brought Jared, so I'll turn it over to Jared. And you
Thank you,
can-
Chief.
he's the one that prepared that before I got here. so.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
What can I answer for you, sir?
So, with the report that you wrote last year, you and Lieutenant Parati wrote, where are you now with the progress of everything that was outlined in
So
your
we've
summary?
implemented quite a bit of that. We're still working with the crisis intervention team, still constructing that slowly. We are pushing out with the assistance of many other agencies, support agencies, but most importantly, Clinton County Mental Health. We have training that is going to be implemented. A hard date has not been decided yet, but that is going to happen this summer. There's also some equipment that they're going to push out with the monies of the grant that they received to officers or the Placer Police Department, along with other supporting agencies. Other things like community engagements, we're rolling that out again. We've had Logan Barrett assigned to the community center, and she's pushing out some community engagements. One most recently is going to be on Thursday, the COPS event.
Which I will be attending. I'll be in the dunk tank.
Well, then I'm gonna go on. for a
I'll be there.
holiday.
Well, you can't.
When is this?
Actually, I forgot.
When is this?
Just a little taste of snack talk. I'll be talking
Like tomorrow or
Tank.
this Thursday?
Yes, sir. Okay. I'm
Try
there.
not to call people
It's gonna be
names.
4 to 7. It's gonna be a great event. I think we got there's 50 units approximately. Very similar to what we did last year in the Oval.
Yeah, it was a very good turnout last year. Well received by the community. Lots of organizations present, not just public safety, but community organizations, support groups as well.
And I might say, Mayor, that Logan seems to have taken the job by the horns pretty well. She's doing a lot of stuff on her own, and she's so far it looks good.
The other thing that we're continually working at is the training and service.
That's
training.
the biggest thing that I want to know, because your community engagement is only as good as your training, and that's what I'm really focused
The
on.
reoccurring stuff, sir, is in a bias training, mental health training, officer wellness training, and engagement training.
What about diversity training? Diversification?
That is on there as well. Yep.
We've already,
Cultural,
just so you know, we've already started that with the, correct me if I'm wrong, SUNY Albany PD chief called me, well, a month ago, and they started doing a series of 3. I think they've had 1. And we sent, I sent 5. He had 5 openings for our people. I sent the 2 lieutenants, and I can't remember the other 3, but there's
So
two more trainings for that.
we have assets here right at SUNY Plattsburgh, and I gave you her information. Francine Francis, she's one of the diversification leads over here at SUNY Plattsburgh, and she already has all the curriculum ready to roll.
Is she the one that's been doing that for SUNY PD?
I don't believe so, but I do have a contact. I would chat to her.
Yeah, we had one of the trainings so far, so.
Excellent. And what are we doing concerning the less than lethal, non-lethal aspects of training?
De-escalation is the coin term. That again is an annual recurring training. So we keep pushing that out every 6 months. So it's biannually.
There's further the conversation for the use of bowler wraps in the
Yes.
department.
We do have,
We have them. There was a training that Lieutenant Mitchell attended or is attending to begin implementation of that.
Are you going to be the use case for that here locally as well as
What
the
do you
dunk
mean?
tank?
Are they
I
gonna?
mean, you're doing the dunk tank too. So I mean,
Not yet, but I have been bowling.
No, we did.
Yeah,
You
we
can
did.
bowl
Yeah,
on me if
I
you
did.
want.
I did I got wrapped up there, which again, it's one of those, again, it's a tool. It's not the,
and don't be all.
I don't want to say it's a silver bullet. I don't know if that pun translates. But it is a tool that we use to not only implement less than lethal tools, but also what we've seen anyway in the studies and the technology as it was demonstrated to us. It's also a de-escalation tool as well, with just the heightened deployment of it. People are like, what was that? Like, not quite sure. Then it kind of shifts the conversation a bit. So
It's quite a shot. You can tell it makes a noise.
yeah, it makes a very loud noise, which you're kind of like, whoa, what was that? You know?
You got me.
Yeah.
The delay was waiting for the equipment, but it also was an upgrade from the training that we went to originally with the mayor
Okay.
present. So it went from 100 to 150. With that upgrade of equipment, we had to have more certification.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing that's important too is that my personal belief is they're much healthier. You know, there's no electrodes going into you. It wraps the person up so they can't fight, keeps them from hurting themselves and somebody else. But until our people are all trained, we're still going to carry stun guns. You know, there's still something that we trained on and that can be used, but I can foresee down the road that maybe just using polos.
No, in conjunction with the CBTs and de-escalation measures, verbal judo, I'm sure that we'll have a lot less incidents.
So to that point, I was just looking, sir, I thought maybe you'd follow up with that question. We had 32 last year events. We're at 12 this year, almost through the six
Excellent.
months.
That's great.
Way better. That's awesome. I personally would like to see you brief this at our regular meeting, if the mayor would be cool with that as well, possibly in the future, just so that everybody on the council can see where we are with the EO 203.
Yeah,
With the
absolutely. If
progress.
that's something you guys
Only
want.
if it's something that the mayor wants.
Yeah, part of that conversation needs to also go through the implementation committee, implementation
Okay.
task force, if you will. So that, that's that third party that keeps us on track, keeps the city on track and our departments on track to implement that. That's the whole reason to have that task force, that independent task force. It's all well and good what we're doing, but if they say, hey, by the way, you really need to step this up, or you need to focus on that, this, that, and the other thing, then that's really the intention of that group. So we'll work that out.
Okay.
And then have a presentation to council with that information.
Awesome. Nothing else?
Any other questions? Appreciate your time.
Good. Good night, y'all.
Yeah, no,
I'll see you on the Thursday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring my baseball.
you'll see me, but you won't dunk me. See it.
my goodness. Item 3.4, draft of resolution authorization of rental agreement for 79 Market Street. Motion by Councilor Bob, second by Mayor Rosenquist. Discussion.
This is renewing the contract as it is. It is paid for with.
Is it just one? Is it just for one more year
It's
and
for-
it's already taken care of?
Correct, it's for an additional year. The payment has been taken care of, so it is funded through previous funds, not through city funds, but through partnership funds. This is the last year that we do have partnership funds to fund this facility. So it is our intention to continue to reach out to those local agencies. Continue that partnership. It is a valid partnership to have our community engagement officer down in downtown. That person provides much more than just walking the beat. That person does provide a lot of interaction with community, as you heard. Officer Barrett is taking up the charge there, organizing a lot of these community events, which goes beyond just beat cop work. So,
Actual outreach.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor of moving this to regular meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, carried. Chief.
Good, how are you?
Good, good. Just my monthly reports for my EMS and call volume. You see EMS is up a little bit. I believe that's a sign of the times. We're always every year going up a little bit more. This last month, we generated 76,000 in revenue from the ambulance. That's right on track for what we had done before. Fire calls were staying right where we were. A little uptick in our EMS, that's because we had to get some EMTs online, so we were utilizing, we needed more personnel there to be able to oversee them. Did get 5 paramedics that just graduated class and passed, so they're all good and they're online.
Awesome.
So that puts us at 6, and I have 6 more in class. We will have 12 paramedics next year. So that's what's going on with those. Payroll and overtime, we're still down 2 positions. We have one in the academy. He's due to graduate coming up July 15th. When that happens, we do 2 weeks of OJT, bring them through, show them our specific vehicles. We run them through 2 days of just EMS charting, because that's all medical records and how we do it, how our system works. So he'll be on by August 1st. That should help. So we're there, and then we have the capital projects for the engine that was canceled 5 years ago, and the ambulance, because we need a constant rotation of fleet. We're looking at 2 years out for the ambulance. 580 days for the engine. So we approve it now, we're looking at almost 2 years before we can get delivery on these.
Okay.
Puts us right into line of what we need, but yeah, we don't have, there are no chassis for the ambulances, you can't get them. So, and the cost keeps going up. When we first got our original quote, in 1 week, it went up $30,000. So it's just, I don't know where the ceiling is. Last year was 20% increase in fire engines.
There's no saying.
So, I mean, when you're talking things of $600,000, then you just trying to keep up with that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else?
No, I'm good.
Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. 4.3 draft resolution authorizing revising capital project, Hotel 5110.90 2022 equipment purchase. Motion by Councilor Bob, second by the mayor. We just had the discussion. Do you want to go any further? Good. All in favor? All opposed? Carried. I'll now entertain any new business to come before this before this committee. There's none.
There are no new items to approve by council by this committee. However, I will say that that starting this week and going into next week, I'll be reaching out to Richard Marks to do a department review, a mid-year department review. This is not something that we did last year, but I find that some conversations we had last year when we got up to the end of the year and we're like, oh, we need to make a massive budget transfer to cover some of the overages, and well, specifically with fire, not picking on you, but that's why we're having this conversation mid-year now to address any changes or fine tuning that we need to do mid-year so that we don't end up with a large budget transfer at the end of this year. Looking at payrolls, I think they're 30-40% through their payroll. Annual payroll this year, we're something like 51% or so through the year, so that there's some regular payroll that's available, but you can see their overtime payroll is about 60% of what was budgeted. So they're.
I just
Yes.
forgot to add, we did send some people through the hazmat technician class. That was 10 of them, and we got all of the overtime covered by grants. That money will be coming back for 18,000 that we will put back into the
Awesome.
overtime. So that's
good.
That's good.
Keep looking for grants.
well, it was consortium from 5 counties.
Yeah, so
Well, and I was gonna say, I mean, as far as the overtime, 60%, I mean, we are at 50% through the year. Yes, it's over, but I mean, I remember last year it seemed to be way over. So this does seem more
Yes.
in line. So thank you for getting it there.
Yeah.
So that the goal is to go department by department to see where we're at and to see if we need to make any major adjustments now, so that when we come to the end of the year, it's not like stick shock.
Right.
As we know, fire and PD are our largest budgets, which it's just the nature of it. With having those professional services in the city of Plattsburgh, we pay for them one way or the other. If we don't have them, we're going to pay for it. If we have them, we pay for it. So it's nice to have those services available to us in that sense. I did mention that I mentioned this to the council and mentioned it now publicly, that the police department union and the city of Plattsburgh have come to a tentative agreement in their negotiations. I do want to publicly thank that team and the police department union for sticking in there and staying in there. It was challenging, Didn't expect it to be as challenging, but it was, as understandable, it's understandably challenging. So I think that, just with any negotiations, we gave, we took, they gave, they took. It's a balance and it's a partnership. And I think that what I've seen, certainly coming out of last year into this year, what I've seen in that department is very clearly what I would consider a strong cultural change. Change for the better, in my opinion. Just like anything else, as we evolve or as we grow as individuals and as professionals, it's always great to see us contribute a little bit more to the greater good. And that is definitely what I've seen in that department. Not just only personally and sitting in my office, but our community should be very proud of the work that was done last week in partnership with the number of agencies that we pulled into the city to exact an arrest in a homicide case. And again, we haven't
6 days.
seen a homicide case in the city of Plattsburgh for 9-10 years. So to have something like that get somewhat resolved or fight, or to see a resolution within 6 days
It's huge.
is a testament to not only this police department, but also it's a testament to this police department's skills, but also their willingness to work with other professional agencies in the region. And I've heard more than once that the accolades for having done that. So we should all be proud of that. So I appreciate that. Other than that, we'll have a more comprehensive package. The financial impact to the bargaining, to the negotiations of that tentative agreement, which will be presented with Richard. And we'll have a resolution come to council, most likely within the next several weeks after we fine tune all of the bits and pieces and make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Awesome.
So I appreciate y'all's patience, and council who ends up seeing this, everybody else, appreciate y'all's patience as we got through that. That's 2 down, and we have 2 more to go. So we're still in negotiations by VW, starting negotiations with fire here shortly. And we're hoping to get both of those done pretty quickly and pretty easily as well. So awesome. Thank you.
Seeing no members of the public are here for public comment, I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Councilor Bob, second by the mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Thank you.